Settings. Allow apps to request to use this. Allow apps to accessibility. Settings.
Edmonton's elite. Bluejackets. Oilers. Tonight at 8:30. Prime Monday night hockey. It's on Monday. It's only on Prime.
Tune and rate, enter car. Button.
Nuge is a big loss, but what it does open up is about 21 minutes of ice time on the power play, the penalty kill, and 5-on-5 for somebody or some players to step up and take advantage of.
Let's go to Ford Keys to the Game, brought to you by Ford, the official partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Ready, set, Ford.
Respond. It's just simple, respond. And that's through physicality, through focus, through details. Everything that was missing in last game against Colorado, and it was everything. Respond tonight, and it starts with the first shift.
That is our Inside the Game analyst, Rob Brown. More with Rob during the course of tonight's game. The Oilers 50-50 presented by Rogers is now live. In addition to tonight's jackpot draw, you could win Oilers tickets, $500 from the Oilers team store, and a year of fries from Cavendish. Get your tickets now at EdmontonOilers.com/5050 for more chances to win. Jack Michaels is up next with the call of tonight's game. This is Fort Oilers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Charging.
Officer Lionel Foote was born in Deer Lake, Newfoundland.
Well, on the night before Remembrance Day, we celebrate those, and we are in the process of doing that before the Edmonton Oilers take on the Columbus Bluejackets tonight at Rogers Place in a matchup of two teams that have both lost 3 in a row. I'm Jack Michaels along with Bob Stauffer. We are live from our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. The Oilers with a record of 6-4, coming off the worst loss, matching the worst loss in the history of the franchise on home ice. It was 9-1 against Colorado on Saturday. Leon Draisaitl called it a well-needed slap in the face for the Columbus Blue Jackets, a record of 7-7. They are on the front end of a back-to-back, having lost to Vancouver 4-3 on Saturday, surrendering the game winner in the third period on the goal by Brock Besser. Here's how Edmonton will line up tonight as we get a look at our starting lineups, brought to you by Coventry Homes. Building a home or championship team happens one shift, one brick at a time. Coventry, never done building. The official builder of the Oilers, proudly celebrating 50 years. It'll be Stuart Skinner returning to the pipes. Of course, he was chased after giving up 4 goals on 13 shots on Saturday. In front of him, Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm, who played his 900th game on Saturday. He'd like to forget it quickly. The opening line will be centered by Leon Draisaitl with Vasily Podkolzin and Jack Roslovic, who spent 4 years as a Columbus Blue Jacket, topping out with 22 goals in 2022. Those will be your wingers. The big news, and Bob talked about it, and plenty have talked about it in the moments leading up to this game, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will be unavailable tonight. Matt Savoy moves up on the top line with McDavid and Mangiapane, and Curtis Lazar re-enters the lineup. This will be the 5th game he's played as David Tamasha comes out. Meanwhile, on defense, Ty Emberson comes in for Alec Regula, and Wallman will be reunited with Nurse on the back end. And that's your starting lineup, brought to you by Coventry Homes. And now I want to bring in Bob Stauffer as we continue our pre-game coverage as we finish up the Remembrance Day ceremony. And Bob, we've got not one but 2 angry hockey clubs. This is not going to be what it usually is, a homecoming opponent for Edmonton, and quite frankly for Columbus when the Oilers travel there in recent years.
They're never any good there, are they?
They're never any good. Dean Evison is angry. So has his club. They've started this 5-game trip 0-3.
Yeah.
Do you expect a highly competitive game?
Better be.
In the sense that both teams are a little upset arriving at tonight's game?
I don't think there's any question that tonight we're expecting some fire in the building tonight between these two clubs.
How much would you say emotion or lack thereof has played a part in this 6-4 start, which, if you dig a little deeper, translates to 4 Edmonton wins in 16 games? How much has that emotional component or the lack thereof factored in this start?
I think that the Oilers have played a lot like a team that hasn't been able to, it's not that they haven't got past the last 2 playoff runs and going to the 7th and 6th game of the Stanley Cup final. I don't want to use it as an excuse, but I think it's tough to replicate the intensity level required to compete at that level when they've got some of their key players haven't always
19%.
been able to ratchet up the enthusiasm for the respective games. The other things they need to do, Jack, the opposition teams are looking at Edmonton like they're a team that they want to measure up against and see where they're at based upon, and they already got that because of the McDavid-Draisaitl angle. Teams always want to play those guys hard.
As you can tell, a moment of silence, and now the national anthems. We'll start with the U.S. anthem with Columbus in the building. Here's Tia G.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed
Charging.
at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee
Charging.
rise, the true north, strong and free, from far and wide. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
Charging.
Inside Rogers Place as Edmonton finishes up a modest 2-game homestand before heading back out on the road. Again, they're in the midst of a stretch of 17 of 24 away from Rogers Place, where they suffered their first regulation loss in emphatic fashion on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Columbus Bluejackets, they'll finish up in Seattle tomorrow night, and then they'll get a rematch with the Oilers on Thursday. Columbus is on the front end of a back-to-back tonight. Edmonton will be on the back end of a back-to-back when the two clubs see one another again on Thursday. Draisaitl to take the opening face-off against Adam Fantilli, the third overall pick in the 2023 draft, who scored 31 goals last year. He's off to a slow start this season, did have 2 assists in Columbus' 4-3 loss to Vancouver on Saturday, but just 2 goals in his first 14 games for the former University of Michigan State stand out. And you see, University of Michigan will be saying that all night. A ton of ex-Wolverines on this Columbus club that won 6 in a row down the stretch. And, oh, by the way, have a 24-year-old goaltender by the name of Jet Greaves, and he was a big reason why they threatened Montreal for the last spot last year. We're underway with Draisaitl winning the face-off, and Ekholm immediately guilty of an icing call up the left-hand side. Jordan Samuels, Thomas, and Tim Shimoleski are the referees tonight. Linesman Caleb Apperson and Devin Berg. But Jet Greaves, Bob, this year 3-4 save percentage of .907. Down the stretch last year, he went 5-0 with a save percentage of .975. Almost single-handedly got the Jackets to the postseason.
Straight rotation for the goaltenders so far for Dean Evison.
Yeah, Elvis Marslikins and Jet Greaves ping-ponging back and forth. Provorov moved up with Werenski tonight on Columbus's top pair, but a turnover. Draisaitl feeding Ekholm, who did well just to hold the zone after bobbling that puck up top. It's held in by Evan Bouchard and worked down low on the right-hand side, but Colson wires a pass that Ekholm was never going to have a chance to keep in the zone. He'll wheel back and reset. Stuart Skinner in the pipes for Edmonton. 2-2-1 lifetime against Columbus. And he is 4-4-3 on the season with a save percentage of .889. McDavid breaks in down the right-hand side. Quick shot off the rush, and a good save made by Greaves. Again, it's Edmonton's first look at this goaltender, and for Jet Greaves, he saw how quickly Connor McDavid could turn an innocuous-looking rush into a glorious scoring chance.
Well, they've had some high picks for their goaltenders over the years, but Greaves, an undrafted free agent, played for the Barrie Colts, has worked his way through Cleveland in the American League,
where he was outstanding the last 2 years, winning 51 games and losing just 23, while putting up a save percentage of .915. Sent in deep off the draw by Columbus. Matejchuk got a taste of what Connor McDavid was all about just a moment ago as McDavid blew right through. Matejchuk technically not a rookie, but this is his first full season. Another of those high picks, 12th overall in 2022. A one-time Moose Jaw Warrior. The Jackets move through the neutral zone and dump it back in. A reset for Edmonton again. Jake Wallman reunited with Darnell Nurse. He'll play the right side tonight. Up the right wing boards, Isaac Howard trying to plow through traffic is Adam Henrique. Hard rim by Dante Fabro, the longtime Nashville Predator. It was tipped by an Oiler and thus no icing as it's reeled in back in his own zone by Ty Emberson, who draws back in the lineup with Regula taking a seat. Chipped up the right-hand side. Olivier, who was ejected, and we're going to have the first fight of the season involving an Oiler, and it's Trent Frederick and Matthew Olivier. Olivier catches him with a right hook after Frederick threw a straight left. And now Olivier, with Frederick in a compromising position, lands a right uppercut and a thunderous right hook. And Frederick has to cover. But Trent Frederick wanted to inject some emotion into this Oiler lineup. And he went after arguably, or maybe inarguably, the league's top heavyweight in Matthew Olivier.
He's the toughest guy in the league. He's the best technical fighter in the league, and he picked Frederick apart. And Frederick's a strong guy, but I don't think anybody thinks Trent.
Number 24, both players, 5-minute majors, fighting.
And I wonder if they're taking a look at Frederick here because he took a couple shots as he goes off.
Frederick's a slow starter typically in fights.
Yes, he is.
He's a good closer.
Wrong guy to be a slow starter against.
And Frederick wasn't going to say no. Frederick went over and instigated that fight. He's not going to get it instigated.
Olivier did a great job in the cross grab right away. Frederick landed one good right early, and then it was all Olivier after. And Jody Shelley was telling me Olivier can eat punches too.
Well, he ate one from Frederick. Hit him with a short right early in that fight, but just walked right through it. Of course, Bob, you remember us talking with Matthew Olivier right after he fought Milan Lucic. Yeah. And we didn't think he'd play, and he somehow did with one eye swelled shut. Last year against Edmonton, he played the Oilers with a broken hand. Andrew Mangiapane off a Columbus dump in. But give Trent Frederick credit. He was not going to be denied that fight. Went right after Matthew Olivier. And now they'll serve coincidental 5-minute fighting majors. 5-on-5 continues as Zach Werenski coming off back-to-back career years. A wrist shot off the rush and a save made by Stuart Skinner. The rebound to Darnell Nurse up the left-hand side. Mangiapane just soccered that inside the Colorado line, and back to collect Ivan Provorov, who began his career in Philadelphia. Sent in deep. Oilers will chase it down. Matejchuk able to hold the zone for Columbus, but second effort by Matthias Janmark making his season debut tonight. Works it free for Ty Emberson. Janmark had been absent since the start of the year. And really in camp. Noah Philp through the middle of the ice. We'll see Janmark in a penalty-killing role, of course. Adds a little speed to that fourth line for Edmonton. Brett Kulak takes a chip in, gets it ahead for Philp, but it's turned over at the Columbus line. Jake Christensen run off the puck by Vasily Podkolzin. Ekholm dashes over to make a play up to Podkolzin. Now on to Leon Draisaitl. 10 goals on the year. Draisaitl pestered by Christensen. Threw it across, turned it over. Kirill Marchenko with Draisaitl racing back. Marchenko could not get a wrist shot off. He's coming off a 2-goal, 3-point game, and he can fill the net. Career high 31 last year. Draisaitl dishes off over the line. Podkolzin made an extra pass that, quite frankly, did not need to be made.
Shoot the puck.
Voronkov picked it off, and Columbus clears up the right-hand side. Cut off by Ekholm and backhanded in deep. Reeves will knock it down. We played 4 1/4. There's no score in the hockey game. Just one shot credited thus far. Wallman off a Columbus dump in. Will reset. Frederick and Olivier in the box. 5 minutes for fighting. Frederick's underneath getting repairs. Steal by Kent Johnson at center. And now on the move and over the line is Boone Jenner. Oft injured, but when he's in there, he's a guy who can go up and down that Columbus lineup, stripped by Savoy, and then flip back in by the Jackets. Darnell Nurse on to McDavid, darting down the right-hand side. McDavid hits the Columbus line with speed. He has feasted on Columbus over the course of his career. 34 points in 18 games. And Bob, he'll never play a better one than the one he played coming off the broken collarbone midway through his rookie season. Offside whistled against Columbus. 5 minutes into this first period. And I believe Jonas Korpisalo is still looking for his protective equipment on the goal that capped a 5-point night for Connor McDavid at Old Rexall Place.
Yeah, it was a pretty special, spectacular night. Second best goal he ever scored. Best still remains the one he got in Toronto.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say the Rangers. Where does the Ranger goal rank?
All right, maybe that's...
I was going to say, you got to reset that list, my friend.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one, too, wasn't it?
Matejchuk dumps it in. Centering pass deflected away. I assume you're referring to the one where he undressed Morgan Riley on his way
and then
to a goal.
Roof job. And just the silencer.
He made it look easy.
Yeah.
Jackets will break out here. Up the right-hand side, sent it deep by Charlie Coyle, most recently of the Colorado Avalanche, but he had been a stalwart for some terrific Boston Bruins clubs. Coyle takes over the puck in the neutral zone. Up the right-hand side, Marchenko lost the handle, and then Coyle back on it. And, Bob, that was a move made by Colorado to clear out some space when they moved Coyle and Wood to Columbus.
Yeah. Chris McFarland, he's been active. He's been busy.
Jackets dump it in. We've only had one shot on net through 6 minutes. Noah Philp up the right-hand side. Curtis Lazar banged into by Dante Fabro, who's found a new lease on life here in Columbus. And now Christensen will snatch the puck back after a heavy hit by Philp behind the net. Lob back through the neutral zone. Bouchard's outlet was deflected, but with secondary support, Lazar was there, and Bouchard got it back to the red line. Tossed in immediately by Fabro. Columbus is a flu-ridden hockey club right now. And as a result, Cole Sillinger and Miles Wood are not playing. It's a team that's a little sick, and we weren't sure Coyle was going to go. He did not take the pregame skate this morning. He is one of those that's playing a little bit under the weather. Jake Wallman up the gut to Podkolzin, back to Wallman. Nurse, one touch on. Leon Draisaitl. Those 10 goals tied for 9th in the league entering tonight's play. Greaves up the right-hand side. Nurse will settle it down. Puck wobbles back behind the net. Jack Roslovic, eager to put up some numbers against his former club, but lost the handle, and Nurse has to gather back in his own end. Up to Podkolzin at center, shadowed by Provorov. Kicks it back. Nurse right up the middle and snapped in deep by Roslovic. Big hit by Podkolzin on Matejchuk. Wow. That
Not all of
was
them.
a mammoth hit. Shoveled back through the neutral zone, and some pushing and shoving. I saw Draisaitl take a slash at somebody.
He got a good one in there.
In the meantime, Matt Savoy in from the right-hand side. Puts the brakes on, top of the right circle. Tough pass. I mean, Ekholm has been throwing a couple grenades in this period.
There's been some heat on those, hasn't there?
Yeah. Here's Greaves, turned over. Bouchard a steal, heading for the net. Savoy back in front, and the stick lifted on Mangiapane. Good defensive play by Kent Johnson. The only time a home team has won in the last 9 meetings between these two clubs, it was Johnson scoring in overtime here a couple years ago. Connor McDavid breaks out down the right-hand side. Drop pass, it's grabbed and shoveled down low by Ekholm. McDavid threw it around the boards. That'll be collected by Emberson. Now McDavid cuts out wide, surveys, moves around Severson, takes it behind the net. He's got Severson in the spin cycle right now. McDavid tied for 6th in the league in scoring, and it's thrown on net. Now we've got Lazar about to go. No fights through the first 16 games, and it looks like Lazar wants a chance to make it 2 in the first period for the Edmonton Oilers, but it devolves into a wrestling match, and the players will be separated by the two linesmen. A big hit by Vasily Podkolzin. Edmonton trying to assert itself physically. And in the early going, a shot by Howard leads to a scrum in front involving Lazar and Jake Christensen. We've got no score in the hockey game. Rogers Place, Edmonton, Columbus, the Oilers Radio Network. No score. And coincidentals handed out to Lazar and Christensen. 8.5 minutes having been played. Columbus does not have a shot on net. And with the coincidentals, it opens up the rink a little bit. We'll have 4-on-4. Remember, no Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So it's McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, and Ekholm as Edmonton looks to take the lead. They've gotten 2 shots on Jet Greaves, the 24-year-old who's playing his first full season in the National Hockey League as a compliment to Elvis Merzlikins. Draisaitl wins the draw. Ekholm to McDavid. Between circles, then spins top of the right circle. Gives it up for Draisaitl. Works his way through Werenski. Dished off and poked away from Matthias Ekholm. Good defense by Charlie Coyle. Here's Provorov gaining the line with a wrist shot that's deflected away by Bouchard. Came off the plexi, handled by Ekholm. Put it on the deck for Draisaitl, and now McDavid will challenge Werenski. Effortless poke check by Zach Werenski. Bob, we don't see him that often. He's a good player. Turned over, though. McDavid tried to give it back to Draisaitl, and then in close quarters, the return pass was a little behind. Provorov felt like his stick was held. Werenski came over, brushed it up the right-hand side for Coyle, and then got a return pass, and he'll skate to the Edmonton blue line. Werenski to Fantilli, his shot deflected away by Ekholm. Up the left-hand side, Roslovic. And now grabbed one more time by Fantilli. Rolls to the net with a shot and a stick save made by Stuart Skinner. Zach Werenski, runner-up to Cale Makar in last year's Norris Trophy voting. And we've got a penalty away from the play. It's going to be a slash.
It's on Bouchard?
Evidently. Time 9:39. This will be a Columbus power play, 4-on-3.
Edmonton, number 2, 2-minute minor, slashing.
So, Tom Shimoleski with a call on the Columbus power play. This has not been an area of strength for the Jackets. Bob, coming in, Columbus was a +5 in 5-on-5 scoring as compared to Edmonton's -13. But the reason the Jackets are only 7-7 is both their power play and their penalty kill is bottom 5 in the league.
Well, it's 4-on-3 to start here. The Oilers without one of their best penalty-killing players that does play 3 versus 4 situations, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Henrique at 61.5% face-off circle against Monahan here.
Off the draw, squirts free. Taken and settled by Marchenko. Gets it back for Werenski. Fired in a painful block by Darnell Nurse. That one bit him. Here's Werenski. Marchenko again. Shoots, and that one off the post.
Wow.
Rebound, Johnson. Well, we know Marchenko can shoot it. He's got it again. Werenski. Kent Johnson. Surveys. Weaves. Dishes. Werenski fires, and a save made by Skinner. Live hop off the pads to Marchenko. Kirill Marchenko. Cross ice. Tipped. Taken by Werenski. Scored 23 goals a year ago from the back end. Gets it back. High slot. Marchenko. Right face-off on a shot. Tipped away by Nurse. Penalties are over to Christensen and Lazar. Now 5-on-4. And late coming on is Voronkov. And he didn't like that extra pop from Darnell Nurse. And he stares him down with 9:26 to go on the first period. One thing we're seeing early is Edmonton is trying to assert itself physically. Having said that, Columbus is a club that doesn't mind that.
Well, they got the toughest guy in the league. That helps. You gain a lot of confidence when you have that guy in the lineup. But they've got some other guys that aren't taking any crap out there either, and that helps. And that's the point you're making. I mean,
and they're a big team. They got some big guys.
Yeah. Philp out here to PK Jack.
Against Charlie Coyle, lost the face-off cleanly, wired left-hand side for Fantilli. 5-on-4 for a minute. Fantilli a shot, blocked, got it back, had it blocked again. 2 consecutive blocks by Emerson, and Philp will scramble his way through the neutral zone to get it in deep. Reeves directs one over to Damon Severson, who of course spent nearly a decade in New Jersey. Swung back to Severson by Provorov. Severson hits the line. Charlie Coyle tied up, lost the puck, cleared down the ice. Great play by Podkolzin.
Well, he's had a strong game, and it starts by landing a big hit of Matejchuk earlier. Good read by him. Separates the man from the puck.
Reeves to Provorov, now Fantilli. First power play of the game. It's a Napa Auto Parts penalty kill for Edmonton. 82% coming in. Coyle. Fantilli swallowed up by Nurse. Dug out by Boone Jenner. Jenner has not played as many as 70 games in a year since before the pandemic. High slot dish, Provorov. Shot, score! Just as the penalty comes to an end, this is going to be an even strength goal. Provorov makes it 1-0 for Columbus.
Well, Ivan Provorov's always had offensive instincts. He's sort of a second power play unit guy, 32 and 33 points the last 2 years with the Bluejackets. Long-range bomber, elevates the puck. That's the scouting report on Skinner. Oilers tried taking away the lower half of the net. 1-0, Bluejackets lead.
I'm not sure Skinner got a great look at that.
Not at all. Wallman was in front of him.
Just went through both Jenner and Nurse. And yeah, to my way of thinking, I don't think Skinner ever saw it. Wallman might have inadvertently set a partial screen. Even strength goal for Ivan Provorov, his third of the year at 11:42. 1-0 Columbus. And the Jackets, when scoring the first goal this year, have a record of 5-1.
Charging.
As opposed to 2-6 when they don't. Draisaitl on the puck in the offensive zone with McDavid as Edmonton loads up. McDavid and Draisaitl for the first time at 5-on-5 tonight. Out to the point, Ekholm. Kulak will send it around the boards. Roslovic is out there with McDavid and Draisaitl, but the Jackets are able to clear up the right-hand side. So the Jackets score on just their second shot of the game. Having said that, Edmonton only has 2 shots as well. Werenski breaks loose. Shot left circle, and he put it over the net, caromed off the glass, and cleared by Emberson. That was a pretty good look for Zach Werenski.
Everything up high on Stuart Skinner.
Coyle bangs it in deep. Chinakhov. He was rumored to be going to a handful of teams. Supposedly Edmonton was in the mix in the offseason. Igor Chinakhov, still a depth forward for Columbus. Hasn't really broken out A couple years ago, he had 16. That's been his high watermark. First-round pick of the Jackets in 2020. Speaking of 20, here's Curtis Lazar dropping it off. Right side, Mangiapane to the net with a wrist shot and a save. Greaves poised as can be. And now another scrum develops in front of the net. Janmark involved. And so is Curtis Lazar. So Edmonton's been physical early, but it's Ivan Provorov with the game's only goal from distance. Top of the left circle, finds a crease against Stuart Skinner. And it's 1-0 for Columbus at Rogers Place. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. High atop Rogers Place, 18,347 on hand to see if Edmonton can bounce back from one of its worst losses ever, 9-1 at the hands of Colorado, who's a wagon right now. Avalanche beat Vancouver last night, so the record is now 10-1-5 for Colorado. Columbus with a 1-0 lead. Provorov from Severson and Fantilli at 11:42. Oilers move in. Pass from Podkolzin off the stick of Draisaitl, handled by Wallman and wound around the boards to Jack Roslovic coming off the left half wall. Bumped off his stick and attempted clear by Monahan, eventually succeeds. Monahan, of course, you'll recall, a decade in Calgary. Often a 30-goal scorer. Different kind of role in Columbus, but boy, has he been valuable. Centering pass tipped just wide by Boone Jenner. Bit of a veteran feel on this line, the defensive conscience for a guy like Ken Johnson, who's played some of his best hockey historically against the Oilers. Here's Roslovic, right side for Leon Draisaitl. Pulls up, top of the circle, threw it across. Darnell Nurse rolls to the net, shoots at a save made by Greaves. Rebound available and then whacked into the corner. Jackets were quick to send that out of danger, but now Podkolzin, hard net drive, save Greaves, rebound, still loose for a moment, and Greaves is able to envelop the puck as much as anything else. But again, Bob, Podkolzin shining.
Hard net drive there. Draisaitl catches Nurse late with the activation from the left point, and then the follow-up. They gave the time and space to Podkolzin, and kicking his right pad out, making the stop was the dirty end.
That's Bob. I'm Jack. We're coming right back with more live first period play-by-play. 5.5 to go. First period, Columbus 1, Edmonton no score. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. First period, McDavid digs in. Pulls the draw back to Nurse. Wrap around, fanned on it. Quick shot, Mangiapane, save Greaves. Rebound, Ekholm. From the high slot, back down low to Connor McDavid. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer, Reed Wilkins, Rob Brown, and Brendan Escott. Lead pass is an errant one and an icing call on the Columbus Bluejackets. My apologies, Bob. It's been a while, and if you see me struggling, just give my head a shake a little bit. If you hear something rattle, give it another shake.
I'm worried more about the mistakes I make than the ones you make. So, anyways, Oilers, Mangiapane swung one on net. Edmonton's been more assertive. Their D's been more assertive, activating a little bit more, assertive physically.
Shots are 5-2 Edmonton. We played nearly 15 minutes. A draw won by McDavid. Nurse guides one over to Wallman. Could not get it through. Hacked away from Mangiapane. Pressure Werenski sent back down low by Ekholm. Here's Marchenko. Giving it up. Taken away from Provorov to the net. Greaves sticks out the left leg and stops Matt Savoy. And pinned it at the side of the net long enough. But Savoy increasingly seems to be knocking on the door, seemingly poised for a major breakthrough.
Yeah, you wonder whether or not he's the guy that ends up claiming a top 6 spot here at some point. I mean, he's got an active stick, does a great job on the strip, and Greaves made a great save. I mean, he just does a tremendous save. Left pad save.
Jet Greaves is a guy that we didn't know that much about coming into the season, but he did catch our eye down the stretch. Columbus seemingly was out of it. They had lost 12 of 16, but they won 6 in a row to close the season, and Greaves won 5 of them. Wallman a shot off the draw. to the left of Greaves. It sailed wide. Rebound Marchenko. Severson will give it up, and a clear. And a hard hit on Matejchuk. He's taken a couple of shots. That one was delivered by Noah Philp. And that was a heavy check. Perhaps not as explosive as Podkolzin's, but Matejchuk has absorbed some punishment here in this first period. Severson biding his time. Edmonton stacking neutral ice. Matejchuk at the red. He'll shoot it in. Brett Kulak sifts it over to Wallman. Booted over to Philp, and now Kulak able to reel it in and gain the line right-hand side. Behind the net, Curtis Lazar sent around a shot. Marchenko. Now Bouchard was whistled for a slash. Bob, is he sitting here?
Yeah, kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Wallman to Emberson.
This is Frederick's first shift since the fight, Jack.
Trent Fredericks is out, but I've got to say, Bob, I think this is in direct response to Bouchard taking an undisciplined stick infraction. Yes, it wasn't technically a power play goal, but it was scored on the back end of that power play. And I think Bouchard's paying for it right now. Gaining the line, Trent Frederick. His shot was blocked. He was cut in the fight with Olivier. That's why I said he was getting repairs. Frederick, okay, stitched up, gives it up for Emberson. Down low.
Charging.
Werenski pursued by Draisaitl. Puck comes free and is sent out by Del Bel-Belluz. Luca Del Bel-Belluz making his second appearance this season. Did get into 15 games last year and scored his first 2 National Hockey League goals. Oilers reset in their own zone. 2:45 remaining in the first period. Columbus 1, Edmonton no score. A goal by Provorov. The difference right now. Roslovic in from the right-hand side. Podkolzin out to Jake Wallman. His shot. Score! A knuckle puck, and Greaves missed it. Tie game.
Well, Podkolzin in on the forecheck again, Jack. And a long-range bomber. They may take a look. I mean, Wallman's leading the flyby, which would lead you to believe it's his goal.
You're not calling that a bomber, are you? That was a Charlie Huff special.
Well, they all count.
A little floater, and Greaves just missed it. Ticked off his glove and right underneath the bar.
Columbus, are they going to challenge here, Jack? Do they think there was a high stick?
Wallman's second goal of the year.
I don't think so. That's a good goal.
17-28. I forgot how you panic about every single goal scored by the Oilers potentially being overturned.
Well,
Wallman's shot, there was a stick from Roslovic that came down, but I don't believe he made contact with the puck.
I don't think he made contact either.
And that's why he's not challenging for a high stick, because I think he knows that Roslovic missed it. Jake Wallman, whose other goal came in overtime to beat Ottawa a couple of weeks ago, he picks up his second at 17-28, and we are tied at 1. Now, that stick might have bothered Greaves in terms of taking his eyes away, because he just missed that puck. Here's Draisaitl in over the line. Right-hand side, twirls it down low. Roslovic can't get there. Chipped up the left-hand side for Matejchuk, out to Kent Johnson. Now Sean Monahan to Jenner, shot off the rush, juggled and held by Skinner with 2:04 to play. And more pushing and shoving, and Monahan was ripped down to the ice.
Well, this should be a penalty on Columbus. Because Wallman was engaged with Monahan, and third man came in here, and Kent Johnson and Draisaitl are having an extended conversation. Just a few years ago, Jordan Samuels-Thomas was a giant.
I think Monahan was kind of run into from behind and fell up over top.
He did. I was going to say, Samuels-Thomas was a LA prospect at one time. I think it was Jenner that came around.
Yeah, that's not a penalty.
No, I'm just saying it knocked everybody down on the ice in a scrum.
Well, you were saying it should be a penalty, and I'm saying it shouldn't be.
They've missed a couple already,
You know as well as I do that's not a penalty.
It's not going to be a penalty.
Here's Coyle.
There is a good engagement level from the Oilers so far, Jack.
Yes, no question. And there's had to be, because Columbus, as we talked about in the pregame, Columbus isn't happy either. This is a couple of teams that have lost 3 in a row. So they don't arrive at tonight's game in a good mood. Werenski off the draw, shot was blocked. Rebound Charlie Coyle against Kulak. Emerson screened off the puck by Olivier. Centering pass, and Olivier can't get it. And it came off the pads to Savoy. Streaking down the left-hand side, he has good speed. On to McDavid. Mangiapane tried to go backdoor, and Savoy couldn't catch up to it. Columbus breaks down the other way. Olivier, we've talked about his fighting prowess, but he also scored 18 goals last year. Kulak sends it in. Time will tell whether that's a Tanner Jeannot type of outlier, but nevertheless, he can play. Chinakhov was hit hard by Emerson. And now a dish to Coyle. A shot denied by Skinner. Coyle cut to the middle, and Skinner flashed out the left pad to keep it tied at 1. Massive save by Skinner to keep the momentum with Edmonton. Matejchuk around the boards to Severson. 1 minute to play, first period. Fantilli to his left, tried to center off a stick. Rebound Severson. Back to Fantilli. Shadowed by McDavid. He'll drop it off. Marchenko tried to go cross ice. That was interesting. Marchenko usually would shoot that puck. The intended target was Severson. McDavid wrestled it free, and now the Oilers will bust out left to right. Edmonton in the blue and orange. White letters on the nameplates. Columbus in the white sweaters with navy blue pants. Charging in right-hand side is Roslovic. To Draisaitl, hits the line. Left circle, he'll give it up. Nurse shot, speared by Greaves, and he'll freeze it with 21 seconds to go. 1-1 tie. Wallman for Edmonton, Provorov for Columbus. And that Wallman goal is going to be an unassisted goal at 17:28 of the opening period.
Tomorrow's the GM meetings in Toronto after the Hall of Fame night tonight. You wonder whether or not some things might percolate up here, Jack.
Good friend of ours going in. Razor, Daryl Ray. Entering the broadcasting wing of the Hall of Fame, Jumbo Joe Thornton.
New trending.
Highlights the players that will be enshrined. Final 10 seconds. Columbus into the offensive zone. Here's Isaac Lundestrom. Drawing in for Columbus tonight with the illnesses. Provorov, a shot, double deflection wide. And we head to the dressing rooms, tied at 1. Shot 7-4 in that first period in favor of Edmonton, and Bob, a decent pushback.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Trent Frederick got engaged physically and against the guy that is the best pure fighter in the league. Showed up.
He picked the fight. He didn't just show up. He picked the fight.
He picked.
1-1 tie after 20 minutes of play. Provorov for Columbus. Jake Wallman with his second goal of the year and the 99th point of his NHL career. The equalizer for Edmonton 2.5 minutes before the break. We'll start the second period 5-on-5. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you from our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. And we've got our Oilers 50-50 presented by Rogers. Well over 150 grand. Get your tickets now at EdmontonOilers.com/5050. Right now you can win Oiler tickets, $500 from the Oiler team store, and a year of fries from Cavendish. Off the draw, here comes Edmonton, and Evan Bouchard is back on the ice, promptly gives it away, but this will be an icing call against Fantilli and the Jackets. Evan Bouchard played just 4 minutes in that first period after taking a penalty that, while not technically a power play goal, certainly led to Columbus's opening salvo.
And never got back on the ice, as you know. So he played 4 of the first 10 minutes of the game, and so Oilers giving him a chance to dig himself out here.
Reunited with Ekholm. Fantilli wins the faceoff from Evan Bouchard. But Colson pulls his way in, but a clearing outlet to Marchenko, and here come the Jackets left to right. Columbus in the white uniforms, Edmonton in the blue and orange. And a puck tossed out of play. Columbus arrived 7 up, 7 down. On the road, 4 up, 4 down.
This line can skate, though. Marchenko, Voronkov, and Fantilli. Fantilli is a restricted free agent. You got to wonder, does he get Cooley-type money?
And Cooley got, what did he get, $80 million?
$80 million over 8, yep, $10 million a year.
Provorov sent around the boards, cut off by Draisaitl, stolen away by Fantilli. Dishing back, a shot from the point was tipped wide. That'll be gained by Fantilli. Shimmy shakes and a one-timer ripped wide by Marchenko. Columbus has a lot of guys not afraid to shoot the puck. This is not a team that's shy, and it really sticks out in a 32-team NHL where you see so many clubs, Edmonton included, trying to pass the puck into the net so often. Spilled in deep by Boone Jenner. And the Jackets go on the attack. Swung around the boards, Matejchuk. On it, Brett Kulak with a clear for Edmonton. Savoy at center. He was noticeable in the first period. Matt Savoy getting a shot to play with McDavid and Mangiapane, who had it clipped off his stick by Johnson. Wallman took too long getting it off, and Jenner the outlet to Kent Johnson. Drop pass on the move, Monahan. Johnson a shot save, rebound, score. Right in front, Sean Monahan regains the lead for Columbus at 2-1. With his second goal of the year, the assist to Johnson.
Well, you said it. It started back at the other end of the ice. The Oilers had a chance to make a play, and unfortunately, Wallman didn't get a puck through, and it started Columbus back in their transition game in a slow developing 3-on-2 and just getting beat inside to the puck there. Sean Monahan. And he's not going to miss from there. He's been a pretty good goal scorer in his NHL career. It's 2-1 Columbus.
At 19 in 54 games a year ago, narrowly missing a 9th 20-goal season. Time 1:39. Columbus 2, Edmonton 1. A wrist shot off the rush by Chinakhov is snagged by Skinner from above the circles, but Columbus now has taken a 2-1 lead.
And you talked about guys not afraid to shoot the puck. And the shot totals for the teams will reflect that. I mean, Columbus has got the third most shots on goal per game at 32.7, but they're giving up the most against at 32.8. They are a high-event team because of the style that they play.
Well, Bob, I think you'd agree with me. It's refreshing to some degree to see a club not afraid to shoot the puck.
Too many unselfish Canadians. We've created an environment where everybody feels guilty.
Face-off, win for Adam Henrique. I've never gotten any sort of guilt feelings from you. I don't get that guilt vibe from you. No. Chinakhov, forechecking.
Especially when we work together.
Olivier to Coyle, off balance, shot sent wide. Rebound tracked and held by Dante Fabro. He'll put it around the net for Christensen. One-timer Chinakhov, and that was blasted into the corner. It shattered the stick of Adam Henrique, who does not have a stick. He'll try to control it in his feet. Now Frederick comes over to try to disrupt Olivier. Shoveled down low. Coyle able to win a battle. And dish back to the point for Fabro. Across to Christensen, who only played 7 minutes in the loss to Vancouver. Here he'll rifle it toward the net. That was blocked in front. Not out of the zone. Fabro picked it off against Isaac Howard. And around the boards it goes. Del Bel Belluz back to the point, a shot. Del Bel Belluz, a backhander, and that was tipped wide. Del Bel Belluz to the point for Fabro. Del Bel Belluz dropped it off and then got it back from Christensen. Little spin move up top. One-timer Christensen. That's wide. Rebound Fabro. Zach Aston Reese. And finally a clear for the Oilers, but too much on it. That's going to be an icing call against Howard and Edmonton. And it was Howard who initially failed to get the puck out. So 3 1/4 gone by in the second period.
Oilers are lucky to have survived that. Henrique's going to try to buy himself an extra second or two. He had the broken stick.
I was going to say they haven't survived it yet. They've got to find a way to win this face-off and get it out of the zone. Long change here in the second period.
Columbus gets their top line on the ice, and Henrique's a good face-off man. He needs a saw-off here.
Fantilli won it cleanly. Back to the point. Werenski. Marchenko Pressure at the line from Howard. Swept it around the boards, Werenski. Columbus has Edmonton in a compromised position here, but a good play behind the net by Kulak. That should allow a clear, but Emberson did not get it out. Marchenko down low to Voronkov. Marchenko, Provorov, Werenski left point. Shot tipped by Frederick, flutters to the corner. Grab by Marchenko against Henrique to Adam Fantilli. His shot blocked. Rebound Marchenko. Pressure from Kulak. Marchenko a wraparound, and that was denied. Emberson trying to seal it at the end boards, and now a smart play by Skinner as that puck was nudged free. Skinner's able to fall on it, and that will allow the requisite line change for Edmonton. 4 minutes into the second period with the Jackets having regained a 2-1 lead.
I think that Chris is deciding which forward line is going to go on the ice. I'm a little surprised that he's going to put Philp out there.
Why do you say that?
Well, D-zone draw. Maybe he would want to have Draisaitl out there against this line for Columbus. Now, it is a right side draw, and Philp's a righty.
Philp wins the face-off for Monahan. Bob, I think at this stage of the year, just my opinion, the Oilers have to trust guys like Noah Philp to get that face-off, because where are they going to be if they don't trust them in May, right?
Yep, that's a fair comment.
Up the gut. Sent in deep. The training wheels have to come off at some point for a handful of players on the Edmonton roster. It's a year of transition, and like Stan Bowman said at the beginning of the year, it's not what this club looks like in October and November. It's what they're going to look like in March and April. Here's Curtis Lazar cutting Columbus off at the blue line, and he'll chip it behind the Jackets' defense. Werenski twists it free for Monahan, whose goal moments ago has made it 2-1 for the Jackets. Clear inside the Edmonton line. Darnell Nurse, a deflected puck. Roslovic skates into it, circles behind the net, centers, and that one off a skate. The intended target was Draisaitl, and it's quickly swung ahead. Werenski will jump up in the play. Eckel hits Werenski hard. Matthew Olivier tried to carve it out of the corner. Draisaitl on his horse, lugs it to center and jabs it behind Matejchuk. Rolling over to make a play on it is Severson. Matejchuk in close quarters will swing it up the left-hand side. Bouchard a centering pass and trying to go between the wickets. Draisaitl to Roslovic, not executed, but Colson. Now Bouchard takes a one-timer and a save made by Greaves. Rebound Severson. And he's able to poke it all the way back to center ice. Bouchard, rink wide to Ekholm. Shot back in. Now it's Edmonton trying to ratchet up the pressure. Severson to Charlie Coyle. Return to Severson, and he'll reset for the Columbus Blue Jackets down the middle. That looked offside and is whistled as such. And because the pass originated from inside the Columbus blue line, it'll be an attack zone draw for Edmonton.
Let's see how the Oilers respond here with McDavid's line. They just got scored on 5-on-5.
Bob, is Zach Werenski an example of a guy who maybe doesn't get as much attention as he should because he plays in a secondary market?
Well, I don't think, I mean, I think we could pretty much argue that about a bunch of guys in Columbus, right? I think we're talking about a top 5 defenseman on the planet.
Well, that's what I mean. He's an elite player. Columbus, I mean, he's the closest thing to a superstar Columbus has. And, you know, even you and I sometimes forget about him because we only see him twice a year. Here's McDavid. Down the right-hand side against Provorov. Cutting over is Darnell Nurse. Behind the net, Del Bel Belouz trapped. Savoy hustles it back to the point. Woolman across to Nurse. Floats one to Connor McDavid. Oilers trail 2-1. Here's McDavid to the middle of the ice. Nurse turns it for Woolman. Sent back down low. Mangiapane wrapped up. Oilers have not had a power play in this game. Here's McDavid behind the net. This feels like a shift that will result in an Edmonton power play, but McDavid gave it away. As I said that, and Columbus is able to reach center, and Lundestrom will jam it in deep. Played his first 7 years in the NHL with the Anaheim Ducks. Unable to build on a 16-goal season he had a couple years ago, dropped off to 4. Here's Werenski up the right-hand side to Marchenko. And the Jackets break out from center. Voronkov, high toss, settled by Fantilli and snapped around the boards. Little miscommunication. Lazar jumped into the seam, took it away from Severson, and now a long pass pass deflected away from Janmark by Werenski with 12:49 to go in the second period. The shots are even at 7 apiece. The Oilers do not have a shot in the first 7 minutes of this second period. And Sean Monahan has put Columbus on top 2-1. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. 12:49 to play in the second period. Edmonton entering tonight's play at 6-6-4. Columbus also at a more traditional .500 record of 7-7, with 4 of their 7 losses coming by 1 goal, obviously all in regulation. So the Jackets feel they could be better, and they've dropped 3 in a row entering tonight, as have the Oilers, of course. McDavid, Savoy, and Mangiapane out there. Neutral zone draw. And here's Marchenko off the face-off, slithering his way past Bouchard, left wing. Tried to tuck it inside, broken up by Ekholm. Marchenko gives it up, Matejchuk. Walking the line, getting it back from Fantilli, and then nearly giving it away to Mangiapane. Stayed with it and sent it behind the net. Fantilli put it behind for Voronkov. Dmitry Voronkov to Marchenko. Skinner gives him a look, and Marchenko, when he tried to bank it off the back of Skinner's head, well, that puck died in the slot and was clear. Bouchard, little give and go down the seam. The return pass broken up from Mangiapane, and the Jackets will hustle it outside the zone, moving left to right. Here's a turn and a quick shot by Fantilli. Easy save with his stick by Stuart Skinner, and Darnell Nurse will take a peek up ice. This is a series traditionally dominated by the home team. Draisaitl looking for Podkolzin. Columbus, 4th of a 5-game road trip. They have not gotten any of the first 3, so they're desperate. Edmonton coming off a 9-1 shellacking. You know the Oilers are angry. Here's a drive and a save on Wallman by Jet Greaves off a beautiful cross-ice backhand seam pass from, you'll never guess, Leon Draisaitl.
The only problem with that is the Oilers didn't have a net front. So, or that, the fact that Wallman didn't go to his off-speed pitch. Give him a fastball.
Tried to blow it right through his sternum. And Jet Greaves able to make the save. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Roslovic, wins the offensive zone draw. Here's Roslovic up top, one-timer Wallman, kick save made by Greaves. Rebound, Coyle deflected, turned over by Provorov, and now Podkolzin gives it up for Leon Draisaitl. Again, no Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in Edmonton's lineup tonight, and he is not expected back in action for at least a week, we're told. Here's Wallman, a pinch down the right-hand side, maintains the zone for Podkolzin. Now Draisaitl against Werenski. Kicks it out, Wallman to Nurse. A shot, kick save, Greaves. Rebound steered past Draisaitl, who tried to center, only to have it stolen by Coyle up to Matthew Olivier. He'll jump up, try to get around Darnell Nurse, poke checked off his stick. Lead pass up the left-hand side, Adam Henrique. He's got a tag back onside, he does. Henrique could not get it in initially, finally got it past Fabro. Greaves will knock it down and leave it for Jake Christensen. He played in the Western Hockey League, undrafted player, now in his 5th year in Columbus. Turnover by the Jackets in the neutral zone. Shot off the rush, came off the inboards, poke free, and taken off the blue paint. Good alert play by Jenner to clear. Now an opening in the high slot for Trent Frederick. Monahan couldn't get it out. Brett Kulak, head and shoulder fake on Kent Johnson. He's ridden against the boards. Frederick guides it back to the point for Henrique. His shot walloped wide. Rebound to Emberson. Monahan took it away. Lead pass Christensen. Saw Kent Johnson, couldn't get it to him. So he'll take it in himself. Christensen to Johnson behind the Edmonton net as Columbus looks to extend here. Johnson tried to center. That went through heavy traffic. Christensen on it. Johnson tried to tuck it in front. Jenner couldn't get there. He was completely erased by Emberson. Kulak on the puck. Tipped away, battled for, and ultimately swept out by Trent Frederick. Here's Matejchuk, spilled in by Isaac Lundestrom. Kulak comes over to cut it off for Emberson. Hammered up the right-hand side. This will be an icing call against Edmonton with less than 9 minutes to go in the second period. We're past the midway point. A 2-1 game, and shots are tough to come by in this period. The Oilers only have 2.
Again, Columbus, their games have the most shots on goal in the league. Combined 65 shots on goal, and we're halfway through this game. We got 17 shots on goal.
9-8 for the Oilers. Yeah, I said Edmonton only has 2. Well, Columbus has 4, but one of them have gone in. Sean Monahan, a backhand rebound. Face-off win for Fantilli. Provorov. Here's Werenski. Janmark fell down briefly. He's making his season debut tonight for the Oilers. And now fired down low. Centering pass deflected away from Fantilli. Frederick didn't get it out. Now Emberson has it stolen. Marchenko trying to shimmy his way past him. Can't do it. Double teamed in the corner. Brushed it back to Provorov. Marchenko loads up. Shot was smothered by Janmark. Marchenko back on the puck. Werenski dropping it off. Provorov. Marchenko peering inside. Nothing there. Werenski shooting. Glove save made by Skinner. And quite frankly, Edmonton needed a whistle there. 8:12 to go in the second period. Columbus another determined push. Skinner comes up with a solid save. Score, Blue Jackets 2, Oilers 1 from Rogers Place, downtown Edmonton on a mild mid-November afternoon. It's the Edmonton Oilers trailing by a goal on home ice on the Oilers Radio Network. 8:12 remaining second period. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. And our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Oilers 50-50 presented by Rogers in support of the Edmonton Poppy Fund and Veterans House. Fitting with Remembrance Day, of course, slated for tomorrow. And right now your 50-50 jackpot is approaching $200,000. Get to EdmontonOilers.com/5050 and claim your tickets now. We got Coyle against Draisaitl, a clean face-off win for the Edmonton center iceman. But jumping up is Werenski. Couldn't get a shot on net, and so it was tossed back in by Provorov. Provorov and Monahan with the Columbus goals. Jake Wallman, the only man to beat Jet Greaves to this point. Here's Draisaitl working his way through the neutral zone. McDavid to the net. Backhanded out in front. Stolen by Roslovic. A shot tipped away by Provorov. Is coming out of the timeout. Chris Knobloch for at least the second time tonight loading up McDavid and Draisaitl 5-on-5. Trying to generate a spark for, as Bob talked about, an Oiler quote-unquote attack that's mustered just 11 shots through the game's first 32 minutes.
That said, Columbus, they've only got 9.
Right.
But the problem is they got the extra goal right now.
Home team has won 8 of 9 in this series. There'll be a rematch at Nationwide Arena in Columbus on Thursday.
Which has not been a kind venue for Edmonton over the years.
No, they haven't won there since before the pandemic. Here's McDavid. Back to Bouchard. McDavid. Bouchard. Poke checked off his stick, but Ekholm was there with support. Shovels it down low. This is an advantageous matchup for Edmonton. Columbus's fourth line out there. McDavid will get it back from Ekholm. Del Bell Belows. Draisaitl taken down. Here's McDavid centering off the side of the net. Jackets come up with a puck, and it's Lundestrom returning, jumping up, and a shot by Matejchuk stymied by Bouchard. The rebound available in the blue paint, and unable to whack it home was Zach Aston-Reese, who was a double-digit goal scorer a couple years ago for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But Skinner able to scoop that up and keep it just 2-1 with 7 minutes to play in period 2.
I think Leon Draisaitl thought there's been a point of emphasis here, cross-checks in the corner, but didn't get the call. And Columbus, part of their modus operandi for tonight's game is stay out of the box, given the differences between the Edmonton power play and the Blue Jackets penalty kill.
Which has been better, which is saying something, because it's still 28th in the league at 71%, but they're actually coming in having killed off 12 of 13. I mean, they were off, as you know, Bob, to a 50% start in the first 10 games.
Well, the Oilers have been there. last year.
Through
the first 15 games, Edmonton was at 59% on the penalty kill.
Icing Columbus, attacking zone draw coming for Edmonton. The Jackets have kind of stabilized in that department, but still, you don't want the Edmonton power play, which, oh, by the way, has scored 12 goals in its last 10 games, getting a look.
And they haven't.
Lead pass, Fabro off the draw. On target for Johnson. Hill swinging around the boards. Fourth line out for Edmonton. That's Lazar with Janmark as the wingers. Noah Philp in the middle. Chipped up the left-hand side. A lunging play at center ice for Sean Monahan for Columbus. Right now has the go-ahead goal. Christensen fires it in deep. Carved out of the corner, but unable to be settled in the zone by Fabro. And so he'll send it ahead for Boone Jenner. Drop pass Monahan. His shot blocked. Rebound cleared by the Oilers. Monahan and Jenner are guys you wonder where their numbers would be had they been able to stay healthy. Werenski to Fantilli and jammed in deep. Ekholm to Bouchard. Tried the right-hand side. Ekholm looking to reverse. Got wrapped up. And that's going to be a holding call. Yeah, Ekholm got wrapped up. Voronkov got the hand, pulled the hips, and got the call. Time 14:06, and the Edmonton Oilers have earned their first power play of the hockey game. Brought to you by Atco Energy. We'll have it for you when we return to Rogers Place with more Ford Dealers NHL hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Hey, Oil Country. Stranded in the snow? Stuck on the side of the road? Or just locked out of your ride? Visit oilcountrytowing.com, Edmonton's most trusted 24/7 towing and roadside rescue.
2-1 hockey game, Columbus. Late second period. Jack Michaels, Bob Staver with you in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. And Trent Frederick will get some power play time here. No Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in uniform for tonight's game. So Frederick joins Draisaitl, Roslovic, McDavid, and Bouchard. It's an Atco Energy power play. Atco, your trusted Alberta retailer. The Oilers looking to tie it up for a second time tonight. Monahan, a go-ahead goal in the first minute 40 of this, the second period. Coyle against McDavid. The Oiler power play 12 for 28 over the last 10 games. And number 2 in the league at 33% for the year. Here's Roslovic off the draw for McDavid. Monahan and Matejchuk watching him. Right-hand side, McDavid and Draisaitl will trade the puck. McDavid coming off the goal line to the face-off dot. Draisaitl inside, one-timer off the post. Rebound, and Frederick could not nudge it home. Draisaitl up to McDavid. Back to Draisaitl, one-timer, save Greaves. And he's able to freeze it. Jet Greaves comes up with some of his best work of the night. Roslovic had him beaten, Bob, but drew iron.
And then Frederick, who's sporting a shiner after that first period fight, couldn't quite find the loose change. Unlucky. Actually made a good play to knock it from his shin pad, tried to get the stick on it. Oilers create 2 pretty good looks there, Jack.
Off the draw, McDavid fields a cross-seamer from Bouchard and tried to get it to Draisaitl and just fumbled it off his stick. Easy clear for Matejchuk. That's just a lack of execution.
Evan's got to bear down here.
Bouchard up to center, tosses it back to McDavid. On rushing and in deep against Provorov. A centering pass. Roslovic couldn't make contact with the puck. Draisaitl gave it back to McDavid. Top of the circles, McDavid has scored in back-to-back games. Bouchard fakes. Draisaitl a shot blocked. Came right back to him on the rebound against Matejchuk. Bouchard to McDavid, left circle, crossing, Draisaitl, no shot. Bouchard, fake the one-timer, now shoots, and a blocked shot. And here comes Columbus shorthanded. Jenner's got to hustle. Bouchard back defensively. Boone Jenner a backhander off the rush. And a save made by Stuart Skinner. 4.5 to go in the period. 30 seconds left in the Atco power play. Draisaitl and McDavid remain on the ice. Draisaitl carries it in. McDavid cuts to the middle. Poke checked off a stick. Draisaitl chopped it across to Wallman. Got it back from Roslovic. Draisaitl. 6 power play goals on the year. McDavid. Wallman a shot. That blistered just wide. Rebound one-handed up ice. And eventually cleared by Matthew Olivier.
And that's a win for Columbus's PK unit, Jack.
13 for their last 14. They're starting to dig their way out of an early season. I don't even know whether you could call it a slump. It was more like a tire fire, but they're starting to get it going in the right direction. And play whistled down with 3:42 left in the second period.
Offside. Right blue line.
Whistled against Edmonton. Puck that will be dropped on the dot immediately outside the Columbus blue line. Bob, I don't know what it is. This feels like a night where nothing's going to come easy. I mean,
Jack,
you got 12 shots in nearly 2 periods.
Has anything come easy at all this year?
Not yet. Not yet.
Maybe it's not supposed to come easy, and that's part of the lesson.
Fantilli up to Marchenko, a drop pass for Voronkov, a backhander, and that was stuffed by Kulak. I'm just talking about a quality shot on net. Driving inside for Voronkov. As you said, Columbus not known for its defensive prowess, but they've been fairly airtight tonight. Voronkov to Marchenko. Tried to feed it across to Severson, and that was broken up.
Emerson's had a couple giveaways in the D-zone, Jack.
Here's Marchenko, barreling his way in from the left-hand side. Checked by Podkolzin, and in the corner, Marchenko is just stapled by Emerson, who has been physical. Here's Phil, turning it over. Chinakhov to Fabro. Severson a shot. Kick save made by Skinner. Rebound to Charlie Coyle. Angled pass up top for Fantilli. Fabro saucered it to Severson. Inside to Coyle. Couldn't get a shot away. Coyle using a screen. Getting around Phil. Heading for the net with a backhander off the side of the goal. Rebound. Coyle collects his own. Tried to shovel it out. A good play by Podkolzin to force it back to the red line. Coyle will shoot it back in. And he'll stay on the ice as Matthew Olivier on the top of the puck for Columbus. 2:15 to play, second period. Shot Fabro wide. Rebound. Werenski. Behind the net. Fighting it a bit. The Oilers cough it up. Shovel back. Monahan. Provorov. Fabro's open. Tried to dish it. It's deflected home for a 3-1 Columbus lead. Fabro banked it off an Oilers stick, I believe.
Well, unfortunately, Ty Emerson had a couple chances to make plays, and he's been fighting the puck. Oilers had 2 chances to clear. They had Philp out there with Mangiapane and Podkolzin and couldn't get it out. Kulak and Emerson had about been out there a while.
Did Jenner get this?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Boone Jenner tipped it home. Fabro put it right in front, and Boone Jenner able to get his stick on that puck. But that's a smart play by Fabro, Bob.
Yeah.
Kind of just, Jenner basically made himself like Zach Hyman. It was going to go in off of one way or the other. And the crowd further quieted as the Jackets had the first 2-goal lead of the night for either team. Boone Jenner with his third, set up by Fabro. Tossed up the right-hand side and out by Lundestrom. Nurse will send it across to Wallman and then get it back. No icing as it's sent in deep. The outlet completed to Jenner. He'll come off the boards in front of the Oiler bench. Nurse shrugged it down. Lundestrom took a hit to get it in deep. And the Oilers will reset with 1:15 to go in the second period. Edmonton started the year 4-0-2 on home ice, but got blasted by Colorado 9-1 on Saturday and trails Columbus 3-1. Here's Draisaitl looking for the stretch to McDavid. Picked off and off the turnover. Fantilli to the net. That's steered to the corner by Skinner with a minute to go. Chris Knobloch has loaded up McDavid and Draisaitl at 5-on-5. Trying to get the Oilers going here offensively. Nurse up the right-hand side. A deflected puck through McDavid. Columbus on the counter-attack. 3-on-2. Marchenko loads and fires. Saves Skinner. Rebound. Held in by Matejchuk. His shot saves Skinner. Rebound Marchenko in front. He tried to bank it off his man. That was a smart play, Bob. It just didn't work out the way it did moments ago for Fabro. Here's Matejchuk. He'll fire off the side of the net. 20 seconds to go. And Edmonton's top line is getting dominated right now. It's McDavid and Draisaitl out there, and Columbus with all the pressure. Fantilli up top. Swept around the boards by Severson. And the crowd howling a bit as the Oilers can't get it out of their own end. And mercifully, the horn goes with the Jackets suddenly with a push and taking, dare I say it, a bit of command in this hockey game at 3-1 with 20 minutes to go. What did you make of that last push over the final 3 or 4 minutes of the second period from Columbus?
Well, it really started. You know what? Columbus has got more depth right now at forward. Edmonton's got some forwards out. And I realize Columbus is down a couple guys with some illness, but those guys haven't had 100-point seasons in the NHL and 50-goal seasons in the NHL. But Columbus has better depth in third and fourth lines, and that's apparent. That's quite, and the fact of the matter is Edmonton's had one power play in this.
Columbus trying to close out the Edmonton Oilers with a 3-1 lead as we head for the third period. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Roslovic. We've seen 3 or 4 times Chris Knobloch go to McDavid and Draisaitl, even without Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in the lineup tonight. But it just has not panned into a great deal of offense against Jet Greaves, the Columbus goaltender, who has faced just 13 shots through 2 periods. Meanwhile, the Jackets have gotten 3 goals on 12 shots against Stuart Skinner. We told you the shots on goal were 12-4 in the second. They recounted and ended up going 8-5 in favor of the Jackets. So 13-12 Oilers on the shot clock through 2 as Edmonton takes an icing call 18 seconds into this final period. And Bob, as we've talked about, nothing's going to come easy, nor should it. But the Oilers are going to have to manufacture something. And I'm thinking, you're thinking, that they've got to match the shot total they achieved in the first 2 periods in order to tie this game here in the third.
The problem for Edmonton right now is their 5-on-5 offense has completely struggled here. They got no juice going. Think of where it was back in 22-23 when Edmonton was the highest scoring team in the NHL during that season.
This year, if the power play isn't doing it, as Bob talked about, 5-on-5 offense coming into tonight was minus 13. Updating it, it's minus 15. Here's a backhander and a save made by Stuart Skinner against Voronkov. Rebound, Fantilli. Mishandled, Podkolzin took it off his stick. Ekholm up the left-hand side. Crisscrossing, McDavid and Roslovic. Beautiful spin move. Backhander score! A fabulous move by Connor McDavid.
Well, Denton Matejchuk, he has not gone up a lot against a player of that skill set. A reverse pivot. The closest goal, you can remember this.
Malkin against Mark Finn in Pittsburgh.
That was the one in Pittsburgh.
A spinning backhander, top shelf, Connor McDavid. Virtuoso shot. Top left corner. No chance.
I mean, that was spectacular.
And just like that, Edmonton does have juice. Goals in 3 straight for Connor McDavid against a team he's regularly tormented over the course of his career, and the crowd in an electrified hush right now, with the Jackets lead at 3-2. Nurse up the left-hand side. That's going to be cut off. Matejchuk up the left-hand side. He got burned in the first period, and Greaves made a good save on McDavid. That time he had no shot. Here's Nurse dropping it off. Savoy, a wrist shot and a save made by Jet Greaves, whose head, no doubt, still spinning just as McDavid spun and elevated a backhander over his right shoulder. An incredible finish by Connor McDavid. Wow.
Ekholm with the lone assist, Jack.
Yeah, Malkin against Mark Fane
and Edmonton
in
won
Pittsburgh.
That.
Edmonton won it in overtime.
And then the Edmonton Eskimos won the Grey Cup the next day. We flew right after that game into downtown Toronto.
Face-off win for Charlie Coyle up the left-hand side. Chinakhov crashed into the linesman, still able to reel the puck in the corner. So the lead has been sliced to 3-2. Behind the net, Charlie Coyle trying to battle through a check. When he tried to feed Christensen, it was cut off by Frederick and played back to Wallman. McDavid from Ekholm, 58 seconds in. And that's Matthias Ekholm's 100th point as an Edmonton Oiler. Shoveled in by Olivier and settled by Skinner.
And a quick shift here.
Draisaitl.
Yep.
Out with McDavid and Roslovic. Draisaitl had it, lost it, got it back against Del Bel Belluz. Chance for Edmonton to get a matchup advantage here against Columbus's fourth line. Ekholm, one touchdown low to McDavid. Draisaitl under control to Ekholm. Shot blocked. Penalty coming. Draisaitl drew it. Here's McDavid in front, and they whistled it down. Holding call. Draisaitl drew it, and now the Oilers will go on their second power play tonight with an opportunity to tie it up.
What's going on here? Did he even this call up here?
Well, the initial penalty is Zach Aston Reese, so hold on Draisaitl. I can't imagine what the infraction would be against Edmonton. I didn't see anything resembling a penalty.
They're having a long conversation.
This is a long chat. And I'm not sure what it would be necessarily concerning. I didn't see anything retaliatory from Draisaitl. Roslovic made the play off the wall to McDavid. Unless they're saying a stick was slashed out of a Columbus player's hand.
Number 27, 2-minute minor hooking. Edmonton, number 97, 2-minute minor holding the stick.
There it is. McDavid took the stick from Zach Aston Reese.
Yep.
And they are going to even it up. Good eye, partner. It was on the backside of the play. McDavid, Draisaitl had drawn it, and then McDavid kind of pinned Zach Aston Reese's stick to his midsection and headed for the net and got called. So 4-on-4, which stifles some of the momentum that Edmonton had generated there. Chris Knobloch going to McDavid, Draisaitl 5-on-5. They had apparently drawn, well, they did draw a penalty.
We wondered why they blew it dead. We know why they blew it dead.
Now we know. Here's Werenski.
And that was a tight call on Connor.
Up the right-hand side, Charlie Coyle. In the corner, Boone Jenner. 4-on-4 hockey for 2 minutes. Crowd none too happy. Bouchard able to wrestle it free onto Draisaitl. His sidecar is Roslovic. Tried to hit a cutting Ekholm. That pass was intercepted by Zach Werenski. Columbus 3, Edmonton 2. Here's Werenski challenging, shooting, and a save made by Skinner. Rebound Werenski. Hard rim around the boards. Adam Fantilli. He'll leave it in the corner. Return to Provorov at the point. Fantilli. Top of the left circle for Columbus. Kirill Marchenko, who's been around it tonight, but has not converted. And now Werenski will take a skate. 4-on-4 at 50 seconds. Edmonton might have gotten caught in a change. Marchenko with a shot. Blocked and sent out of play by Evan Bouchard. Columbus correctly read the fact that Edmonton was going to change and almost caught the Oilers.
That was a sloppy change by Edmonton and nearly a conversion. this is where you really miss Nugent Hopkins, too.
McDavid, a breathtaking backhander, elevated up over the right shoulder of Jet Graves to cut it to 3-2. Face-off win for Adam Henrique, and Nurse will take a skate. He's out there with Wallman and Mangiapane to round out the quartet. Here's Wallman dropping it off. Mangiapane, a shot and a kick save made by Graves. Henrique was near the rebound. Wallman flicked it back to Nurse, and Edmonton will reload here in the neutral zone. 15:45 to play. Fantilli with a steal. Gets it back and scores from Marchenko. And just like that, the Jackets regain a 2-goal lead at 4-2. Adam Fantilli, a beautiful give and go from Kirill Marchenko.
Well, Andrew Mangiapane cannot make that play. Just a dead stone giveaway. He's -3 in this game. Edmonton has possession of the puck, and he gets stripped. And an absolute rip job, high glove side by Fantilli.
And a good look from Marchenko. Time 4:19, 4-on-4, which last year in particular was a strength of Edmonton's, but now Columbus back up 4-2. And the Jackets have 4 goals on 14 shots against Stuart Skinner. Here's Vasily Podkolzin in from the right-hand side. Fabro against Sean Monahan.
Think of the swing of momentum here, Jack. McDavid scores a brilliant goal. Oilers think they're getting a power play.
It's a big change. Wrist shot. You know, when we said it at the time, that's negated some of the momentum. And Columbus, 4-on-4, creates a turnover and buries it. And Marchenko's been around it all night. He set up Fantilli that time, and maybe that's the goal that gets Adam Fantilli going. In this, his 3rd NHL season. Podkolzin wins a battle in the corner, then stumbled down. He felt like he might have earned a penalty there, but none forthcoming as Columbus clears through neutral. Bouchard across, Stackholm. Off the gut to Leon Draisaitl. He'll gain the line. Flashed in deep. Back to 5-on-5 hockey here. Frederick could not contain down low. Voronkov down the left-hand side. Olivier skating well. Brushed off a stick by Ekholm and then lifted back to center. Draisaitl, a good play to Noah Philp. He's in. Philp ditches back, and that was broken up. Noah Philp had a lane to shoot. Draisaitl couldn't get one off and cleared by Isaac Lundestrom. And I wouldn't be surprised if Draisaitl has a quick chat with Noah Philp saying, hey.
You got a good shot, use it.
Well, and I gave you the puck for a reason, right? He doesn't want it back. Howard tried to center. That was broken up. Back behind the net, Curtis Lazar. Kulak winds it along. Matthias Janmark, first game of his season. A guy who traditionally picks up his game for the postseason. Boone Jenner whips it through the neutral zone. Grabbed by Kulak back in his own end. 13.5 minutes left in regulation. 4-2 Columbus. Spilled in by Isaac Howard. Hard rim by Jake Christensen up the right-hand side. The Jackets are out. Gaining the line is Marchenko. Busting down the seam. Couldn't get a shot away. Cleared back to center. Rifled back in by Christensen. Darnell Nurse up the left-hand side. McDavid had it stripped. Nurse tried to give it back to McDavid. Off target. And taken by Fabro. And now Columbus will kill some time. Werenski curls back behind his own net. Gives it up for Fantilli. Got around Matt Savoy. Adam Fantilli just scored moments ago to make it 4-2. Sent in deep by Aston Reese. Kept alive by Lundestrom. Aston Reese coming off the end boards. Delivers to Provorov. His shot wide. Rebound taken by Mangiapane, whose turnover led directly to Columbus's 4th goal. Savoy able to slash it in deep. Werenski on it for Columbus. McDavid hovering. Hard rim Werenski. They're going to wave off icing here. Bouchard back to collect for Edmonton. Ekholm under pressure. Coughed it up. Zach Aston Reese will wind it along to Olivier. Could not hold the zone. And Roslovic and Draisaitl will break out with Podkolzin. Roslovic, Draisaitl, Podkolzin fires. Glove save made by Jet Greaves. 12 minutes remain. Columbus 4, Edmonton 2. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, live from Rogers Place, the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey folks, Paul Brandt here. Around these parts, we work hard, play hard, and we demand the best. Sometimes you need a truck that's a cut above. The Ford Super Duty. Tough enough for any job with the style and luxury you deserve. It's as powerful as it is refined, with cutting-edge features that make every drive a pleasure. In short, this ain't your everyday pickup.
12 minutes to go. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Roslovic on the ice with Ekholm and Bouchard for an offensive zone faceoff. 4-2 Columbus. It was tied at 1 after 1. The Jackets got 2 in the second period. McDavid scored an unreal goal off the rush. Backhander top shelf off a spin to make it 3-2. And then after a penalty was canceled out and turned into a 4-on-4 instead of an Edmonton power play, Fantilli scored in the ensuing 4-on-4 to cancel out the momentum generated by McDavid's spectacular goal. Now Roslovic to take the face-off. To Jet Greaves' left-hand side. Both teams riding 3-game losing streaks. Provorov up the right-hand side. That's going to be an icing call against Columbus. 11:53 remaining, third period. With the Jackets on top, 4-2. Edmonton boards a plane tomorrow, flies all the way to Philadelphia for the opener of a season-long 7-game, 12-day road trip through the Metro and Atlantic divisions. Edmonton 5-0-1 in its last 6 against Columbus at home. Monahan off the draw, comes away with it. Boone Jenner jumping up as Werenski. His shot clipped the side of the net. Jenner with a goal and an assist in that second period for Columbus, unable to contain. Draisaitl hacked it away. Skinner tried to shoot it out of the zone, held in by the Jackets. Bouchard's pass went off a skate. Wrist shot blocked. Both teams looking a little sloppy here. Johnson had Monahan wide open, couldn't get it to him. Got wrapped up with Ekholm, who smartly booted it away for Evan Bouchard, the outlet to Leon Draisaitl. He'll break around one-man look for McDavid, cut off by Werenski.
That's the problem. When you load up McDavid and Draisaitl, they can have Werenski out there all the time against them. Great two-way defender that can really skate.
And you've just drained a minute off the clock, and now theoretically you don't get those guys back out there until about 8 minutes remain. And you don't have Nugent Hopkins, remember, in the 2C hole to be a real threat on the other line that doesn't have either McDavid or Draisaitl on it. Flipped in, stopped at the line by Columbus. Falling down was Olivier. He thought he was tripped. The Oilers come up with a puck. Darnell Nurse to Wallman. One touch on to Vasily Podkolzin. He'll hit the line. Henrique is centering this line. Frederick is the other winger. Frederick will toss it back down low to Podkolzin, who's played a good game tonight. Up top for Wallman. Podkolzin could not contain. Slashed up the left-hand side and out by Olivier, who followed it up and will take the puck and hard charging toward the net, trying to power his way through Wallman, who was strong on the stick, and Olivier can't believe it. Matthew Olivier cannot believe no penalty was called there on Jake Wallman. Janmark, you didn't think that was clean, Bob? I thought at live speed, Wallman just overpowered him.
Tight call. I understand why he was yapping.
Here's Emberson. Up the left-hand side. Howard backhanded it in off a skate. Marchenko threw it around the boards. Fantilli didn't get enough on it to get it out. Janmark did well to find the puck and keep it in. And now Isaac Howard spun it back to the point for Emberson. Kulak, a shot that was blocked. Rebound worked along the boards. Marchenko against Janmark. Jackets able to power it up the middle. And hustling to center is Christensen. He'll get it So the face-off down in the Oilers zone. A drop-off for McDavid. 9 minutes to go. McDavid's back out on the ice with Draisaitl. Shot wide. Rebound clattered off the corner boards, and that's all the way down the ice. Time ticking away. Edmonton trying to find some urgency here in the second week of November. Draisaitl was stripped. Soft toss will chase Bouchard back. And that's all Columbus needs to do, Bob. They melt extra time here. McDavid will get it in deep, but the Oilers aren't in an attack position. Provorov, plenty of time to just send it off the boards. He didn't get it out. Bouchard did well to hold the zone, forced back down low by Draisaitl. But now it's near the end of the shift, and Edmonton doesn't have enough in the tank to keep the pressure on. Look at how tired Draisaitl and McDavid are getting off. Werenski, in the meantime, fires it in. 8 minutes to play. 3-1, or 4-2, excuse me, in favor of Edmonton. It was 3-1 at the start of the period. Mangiapane up the left-hand side. That's an icing call all day.
He's having a rough game.
And the whistle will go with 7:58 remaining in the third period, and the Blue Jackets holding a 4-2 lead. And, Bobby, you talked about the many ways Edmonton misses a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I think the load-up of McDavid and Draisaitl is an underrated one because you still have the threat of Nugent-Hopkins as the second line over the boards in that scenario.
They miss Nugent-Hopkins, and they really miss Hyman as well.
Well, yes. And Zach Hyman, we think maybe late this week, Bob? What's your best guess?
I would say Columbus or Carolina.
Like the rematch. Okay.
One of the two games he's going to play.
Jackets get it in deep. Here's Monahan. Up top. Wrist shot redirected dangerously in front of Stuart Skinner. And grabbed by Boone Jenner, but bobbled by Christensen, and he'll have to just chip it off the boards. Back to Jake Wallman on the goal line, up to Noah Philp. Columbus gets a change. Christensen holds the line fairly well. Wallman eventually jammed it in deep. But now the Jackets will reload with 7:20 to go. Stretch play to Chinakhov. He's double-teamed and winds it along. That'll be picked up by Adam Henrique. Shovels behind the net for Evan Bouchard. Shrugged off Chinakhov, but there's Matejchuk. He was dropped in his tracks by Bouchard, just steamrolled, and Frederick is able to advance as far as center. Columbus able to force Edmonton back. Kulak up the left-hand side. And now he'll quarterback the puck through the middle. Bouchard fires it in. Off the end boards. Columbus on it. Severson did not get it out. A steal by Olivier on a pass intended for Podkolzin leads to a backhand clear back to center. Bouchard, that was an alert play by Matthew Olivier. He can really play. Podkolzin to Bouchard, a shot, and that pinball to the corner. Marchenko first on it for Columbus. And now he'll lift it through the middle. Bouchard caught it cleanly, and the Oilers on the counterattack. Here's McDavid taking it hard to the hole. Scores! Connor McDavid trying to will Edmonton to victory. His second of the period, it's 4-3.
Well, Bouchard with the intercept in the neutral ice area. The Oilers had started a line change, and McDavid absolutely blows past two Columbus Blue Jackets. Courageous net drive, and Greaves can't get the right pad across the crease, and we got a one-goal game.
Marchenko tried to lift it over, and neither Severson nor Matejchuk ever fully rotated over to get in front of McDavid. 4-3. A lot of time left. 6:21 to go. McDavid's out there with Draisaitl and Roslovic. Wallman to Nurse. Draisaitl to Connor McDavid. Werenski defending. Draisaitl feeds it across. Nurse shot blocked. Rebound Nurse. Blocked again. Del Belbaluz down low. Forced up by Werenski. And now Zach Aston-Reese up the right-hand side and out. Less than 6 minutes to play. Crowd back in it. McDavid twice as electrified the 18,000 here at Rogers Place in the third period. Jenner a blast, and that missed. Low glove. Rebound Kent Johnson coughed it up. And the Oilers funnel through the middle. Jack Roslovic tried to drop it for Draisaitl. Hacked off his stick. He's getting worked over by Monahan. Return to the point. Emberson down low. Severson able to tap it away.
Guys are
from
exhausted.
McDavid. They are exhausted. Johnson in over the line. Monahan loads up. His shot deflected wide. Rebound Boone Jenner. Behind the net, Kent Johnson. Little spin move on his back handle. Shovel it out. Provorov to the point. Wrist shot wide. Rebound. Johnson was sitting there, but the puck eluded him on the carom. Draisaitl is dead tired as he comes off on a change. Less than 5 minutes left in regulation. Oilers trail 4-3. Here's Matt Savoy. Poke checked away from Isaac Howard. Columbus could not get it in deep. Charlie Coyle and Chinakov's second effort. They muscle it down low for Stuart Skinner to handle. Up the left-hand side, Olivier forced it loose. Coyle shot, save Skinner. Rebound Janmark, and that dislodged the mask from Stuart Skinner. And we'll have a whistle and a timeout on the ice with 4:28 to play in the third period. Connor McDavid, 2 superlative goals here in the third, trying to single-handedly bring Edmonton all the way back. It's Columbus 4, the Oilers 3. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and...
Well, with Remembrance Day tomorrow, we got a 100-year-old war veteran who was there for D-Day in the building. Just fantastic. Oilers trying to rally. 4-3. Columbus the score. Off the draw. McDavid already with 2 spectacular third period goals. Hits the trailer. Ekholm shot save. Reeves. And the rebound coming up with it. Adam Fantilli for Columbus, who scored the 4th goal. And right now that would be the winner. Marchenko put it behind the net. Voronkov turned it over. Voronkov collided with Roslovic. Ekholm gave it back to Roslovic up through center. 4 minutes to play. Roslovic out wide. A shot that was heading wide. And Greaves will lay that one to rest with 3:56 to play in the third. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you live from Rogers Place in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Home of no interest, no payments for 1 year.
Well, Greaves fought that one off, but David drove the zone and hit the trailer. That was Ekholm, who's got a good shot, and Greaves got enough of a glove on it. One of the problems the Oilers have, no Nugent Hopkins, no Hyman, decreases the probability that you can sustain shift after shift.
So now, off the draw, you've got Henrique out there with Frederick. The Oilers briefly held it in, then chipped softly out by Monahan, and Jenner rolled one toward the net. Skinner will leave it for Jake Wollman. Still more than 3.5 minutes remaining. Edmonton has trailed since early in the second period. Sent in deep. Played off the boards by Greaves. Jenner did not get it out. He'll get a second opportunity. The puck maintained, though, by Frederick before finally being lifted off the glove of Kulak and back to the Edmonton line. Frederick will snap it around the boards. Podkolzin collects deep in the left corner. Shadowed by Provorov. Podkolzin getting worked over behind the net. Frederick. Pressure from Monahan. Put it back behind. Zach Werenski able to escape. And he'll angle one off the glass and safely back through the middle. Over skating and now snaring the puck is Matejchuk. He's had a rough night, but he's been matched with Connor McDavid, and it has not worked out. No surprise. Columbus is offside, which brings us to one more timeout. When we come back, the frenetic finish as Edmonton mounts one final push in an effort to tie this hockey game. It's Columbus 4, the Edmonton Oilers 3, and this is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey live from Rogers Place, the Oilers Radio Network.
Get ready for a feast like no other. 40-ounce steak night is back this November at the Canadian Brewhouse. Sink your teeth into a hand-cut 40-ounce ribeye with all the fixins for just $49.99. Tickets available now in store or at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Blue-collar work deserves big dollar perks. Get a heavy wallet with Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals is always growing. Right now, they're hiring heavy equipment technicians, PM servicemen, and maintenance supervisors. Apply if you're from here or across the country. Even if you're from the Rock, they want to talk. Visit heavymetalequipment.ca to find your new career. Get a heavy wallet with Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals, helping you move the earth.
Now more than ever, it's time to shop Canadian. Support your local businesses that create jobs and invest in our communities. Brought to you by Proudly Canadian 880 Chad.
Get ready for a feast like no other. 40-ounce steak night is back this November at the Canadian Brewhouse. Sink your teeth into a hand-cut 40-ounce ribeye with all the fixins for just $49.99. Tickets available now in-store or at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Connor McDavid has not scored a hat trick in 3 years. He's got 2 in the third to bring the Oilers within 4-3. Columbus trying to hang on and end a 3-game losing streak. Edmonton trying to end a 3-game slide of its own. Right now they've got McDavid, Draisaitl, and Roslovic out there.
They're going to play
with Wallman and Bouchard.
2 of the final 3 shifts in this game, I'm sure, Jack.
And if there's a stoppage or a timeout, they might play the remaining 2:53 that's on the clock if they need to. Bouchard up the right-hand side, a bouncing pack sent back the other way by Werenski. Now Olivier tries to plow his way forward. He's cut off by Bouchard. McDavid will dial it up against Provorov. He hits the line offside. And it's whistled down with 2:34 to play in the third. Remember, the home team has won 8 of the last 9 between these two hockey clubs. Oilers haven't won in Columbus since the fall of 2019, 4 straight losses. Columbus has an overtime win a couple years ago. Kent Johnson scored an OT, but otherwise, likewise, the Jackets have lost, and usually the games are not this close. There's often blowouts between these two. Here's McDavid off the draw. Quick shot off the rush and a save made. Stuart Skinner to the bench. Extra attacker on. The Oilers are going for it right here, right now. 6 on 5.
We got a high stick.
Wow. And that will be a Columbus power play, an attacking zone draw. And now Edmonton must regroup here. So Roslovic to the box. Temporarily 5 on 4. The Oilers will have to go to the extra man to get 5 on 5. But more to the point, you sacrifice some territory right here with 2:18 remaining.
Well, I think you got to start with Henrique and Savoy.
I agree.
They got to start the PK, and then you get McDavid and Leon out there for the final.
You get possession, you dump it in, you pull your goaltender, and you roll your lines. In the meantime, Columbus, its power play this year at 14%. Monahan against Henrique, who won the draw. Kulak looking to escape up the left-hand side. Jackets do well to hold the zone. It's Monahan curling it to Marchenko. Matejchuk on the ice, the second-year man. Centering pass for Voronkov, and he couldn't stuff it home. Werenski, and there's a little bit of a keep away at play here, Bob.
Yep.
Matejchuk steps up. He'll shoot. Blocked. Rebound. Marchenko went off the side of the net. Voronkov to Monahan. Matejchuk. Werenski. Columbus content to just work the puck up top in the high slot. Minute 35 to play. Columbus 4, Edmonton 3. A power play for the Jackets. Marchenko. No urgency for Columbus to release the puck here, Bob.
At some point, Edmonton's going to have to be more aggressive.
Marchenko shot Werenski. That was blocked. Here's Adam Henrique. They did release, and now Savoy, and the change comes. But just as it comes, Columbus regains the puck. McDavid is back out there. Werenski to Matejchuk. Matejchuk trying to get away from McDavid and Draisaitl. Werenski flips it over to Olivier.
And
now, here's Werenski. No pulling of the goalie, but a steal and right to the net. A deflected puck ends up in the back of the net. Wallman got a break and threw it off a stick, and it went upstairs.
Low battery, 20%. Double tap to open
An
up.
unbelievable break for the Oilers, and we are tied at 4.
That is crazy. I mean, Connor McDavid wanted Skinner out.
Adler online.
Jumping up on the play was Wallman. He tried to pass it to Draisaitl, deflects right in off the stick and on that.
Olivier's stick. Put it upstairs. Wallman with his second of the night, third of the year. And who knows, in this kind of season, maybe that's the kind of a break that gets you headed in the right direction. Now, Columbus is still on a power play for the next 39 seconds.
You got to navigate this. You got to get a point out of this game no matter what.
They've got Draisaitl, McDavid, Bouchard, and Ekholm out there to finish. Still a Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. We are tied at 4. Wallman unassisted at 19:02. Monahan wins the faceoff. Jackets with a puck. Now they've got to change from defensive posturing into an attacking mindset. Here's Marchenko rolling his way toward the net and winding it around. Monahan, Marchenko let it go through. Provorov tried to shovel it down low, taken away by Draisaitl. Here's Connor McDavid, 35 seconds left. Draisaitl, Bouchard, Draisaitl saves Jet Graves. And the rebound, Marchenko. Great chance shorthanded for the Oilers. And the Jackets look rattled. Werenski didn't handle an outlet pass cleanly. The power play is over. We're back to 5-on-5. Here comes Boone Jenner onto the ice for Columbus. Tried a wrist shot. It floated wide. 10 seconds. Bouchard to clear up the right wing boards. Roslovic onto Podkolzin. And we will head for overtime. A dramatic game-tying goal by Jake Wallman. One that went off the stick of Olivier and underneath the bar. We are tied at 4, and we'll play 3-on-3 when we come back. Live from Rogers Place, this is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
As the official medical imaging provider to the Edmonton Oilers, MIC ensures precision in every shot. And if you need medical imaging attention, you can count on MIC to get you back in the game. Whether it's a classic wrist shot, that is, X-ray, soft tissue scan, or advanced imaging, MIC provides timely and expert diagnosis. So go where the pros go and book an appointment at any of their 15 convenient Edmonton and area locations. Learn more at mic.ca.
All games, all season.
You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
So we've got overtime. The Edmonton Oilers, surprisingly enough, just 2-2 in 3-on-3 overtime and 0-2 in the shootout. Columbus, on the other hand, has won a game in overtime 3-on-3 and also won a shootout. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard, presumably for Edmonton, or, and I'm not saying there was a lot of skill involved in the equalizer. You ride the hot hand of Jake Wallman.
You don't have Nugent Hopkins.
You don't have Nugent Hopkins. Well, you're not gonna start with Nugent Hopkins in overtime anyway.
I thought you were talking about the shootout.
Oh well, we got 5 minutes to play. I'm still very used to the fact that the Oilers games, one way or another, usually end in the overtime session. Again, it was Jake Wallman banking one in off the stick of Matthew Olivier to get this game tied in the final minute with the Oilers shorthanded.
So the Oilers are the better face-off team, and you know what possession is.
Well, Draisaitl is deadly in OT. Shots were 22-18 through regulation. Draisaitl wins the face-off again. so reliable. Monahan, Marchenko, and Werenski for Columbus. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard for Edmonton. Moving right to left in the OT. Here's McDavid. He has 2. Wallman has 2. McDavid jitterbugging down the right-hand side. To the net with a backhander to save made by Jet Graves. Rebound, Werenski jumping up, but too far from Marchenko. That pass corralled by Werenski, but back in the corner. He's able to come away with a puck, though. And Zach Werenski will pass it back to his goaltender, Greaves, to allow Columbus a bit of a reset and chase at the same time Bouchard, McDavid, and Draisaitl off the ice. Here's Werenski to the net. Coyle a shot, a save made by Stu Skinner. And now wide open ice and a breakaway. Roslovic to win it. Backhanded and score! Jack Roslovic against his former team. And Edmonton comes all the way back. 5-4 in overtime.
Well, that is after a 9-1 loss on Saturday and down 4-2 here in the third. You get a game-tying goal while you're shorthanded. And then the former Blue Jacket, Roslovic, who looked cool as a cucumber going in, Jack. I mean, that's a guy who's had multiple 20-goal seasons in the NHL.
5-4 Edmonton in a game that, as Bob alluded to, at times appeared to be lost. The Oilers extract the stuff of victory. Roslovic, who spent 4 years with the Jackets, scores his 4th of the year in overtime at 56 seconds. And after a pretty good chance for Charlie Coyle was stopped by Stuart Skinner, the Oilers come the other way, catch the Jackets in a change, and Roslovic, with nothing but, 150 feet of open ice.
Wallman again with
able
the stretch. Wallman got him with the stretch as well. Great play by Wallman. He had a lot go right for him tonight, Jack.
5-4 Edmonton. Let's go ringside with Aiden Gannum.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Down here with Evan Bouchard. Evan, you guys fall 9-1 the other day, and this one looked like it was a little bit grim, but you guys find a way to fight back and come away with a huge victory. What did that win mean for you guys?
Yeah, that was big for us. It wasn't necessarily the full 60 we were looking for, but we got it done, and that's good for our confidence.
You guys are about to go on a crazy road trip, your second one of the season already. What does that do for you guys as you move on to the road?
Yeah, it's a lot tougher on the road, right? You don't get the line matches, but we're a good road team. We're excited for the challenge. We're going to enjoy this one tonight, though.
Thanks, Evan.
Thank you.
Guys.
Well, they should enjoy it. They had a couple of days to sit on that 9-1 disaster, again matching the worst loss on home ice in team history. And, again, Roslovic gets the game winner. It's a great story against his former team. A lot of his ex-teammates, no doubt,
Come back complete.
will
Tune in now
rue
for
the
live
fact
post-game
that
coverage as the Oilers
Jack
beat Columbus
Roslovic
5-4
was the
in
man
OT.
that broke free. But for me, the guy who injected energy into this building and gave Edmonton any shot at all was Connor McDavid.
I mean, 2 brilliant individual virtuoso-type goals. And that ultimately is really what got Edmonton back in this game. They're on the ropes twice, down 3-1, and, maybe the best backhanded goal we've seen since Evgeny Malkin back in 2015. And then fast forward again after an unfortunate sequence that McDavid negated what would have been a power play. A pretty tough call there. The Blue Jackets go up 4-2. They made a good play. They capitalized on an Edmonton mistake, and boom, it's 4-2, and McDavid does it again. Just blocks their D, posterizes a couple young defenders on the ice, and then they got a break. The Wallman, they needed a break. Sometimes you need games like that. And, Jack, you're going to take it, but I'm going to say this right now. I wasn't sure what the Oilers were going to get with Jack Roslovic. He's tended to start, he's had some decent starts with teams. Jack, he's been better than I thought he was going to be. And the player he reminds me of is Joe Murphy, albeit a right shot, not a left shot, because he's fast and he's composed with the puck, He's got stronger balance than you'd think because he's not the thickest guy, you know what I mean?
Bob, you got to bring it to the modern audience. And with that, I would say you're also describing Ales Hemsky a little bit. To me, he reminds me a lot of Ales Hemsky.
Yeah, yeah, right. I mean, Hemsky, okay, sure, that's fair.
There's more people who remember Ales Hemsky.
I think my Joe Murphy connection, both out of the NCAA, both. Yes. Well, you know what, Hemmer was a first-round pick as well. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing about Murphy is he was a secondary scorer when the Oilers were an elite team. And that's what they need Roslovic to be, a secondary scorer. I was upset, as you know, the Vancouver overtime game. I was angry that he was not on the ice in overtime with the second set of forwards because I thought he was the best player in that game.
Well, he was feeling it that night,
right?
No question.
And anyhow, the bottom line here is Connor McDavid and company helped dig the Oilers out. Wallman had a big night.
2 goals and an assist on the winner, although, again, Jack Roslovic basically had 150 feet to himself, and give Roslovic credit. I mean, you know, it's funny. A colleague of ours, Louis DeBrusk, talks about Roslovic speaks the same language. He's not on the same level as a McDavid or Draisaitl, but he speaks the same language.
He can play with those guys. Yeah,
that's what I mean. And the skill set, again, isn't there game in, game out, but it's there. He's got elite skill, and like you said, he was poised as could be on that finish.
So, you know, the Oilers won this game tonight, Jack, without their third and fourth best forwards. And people say, oh, Bob, you know what, like, Columbus didn't have some good players going to. And my response to that would be the third and fourth best forwards on this team have had a 50-goal season in the NHL and a 100-point season in the NHL. Like, Nugent's probably a 60-point guy. It's a pretty good, you know, two-way player that touches every aspect of the game. I think what we saw tonight is if the Oilers wanted to load up McDavid, when Nugent, Hopkins, and Hyman are both healthy, they can plan a line together. And I'm going to tell you who I think should play with them. And you're going to agree with me. Savoy should be playing with him because he goes and gets pucks and makes plays. He had the unluckiest night tonight to finish with the plus-minus that he did. He couldn't catch a break. But Edmonton, you know what? If you're in that Blue Jackets room, you're going to think you stole one. And if you're in that Oilers room, you're going to say...
No, if you're in that Blue Jackets room, you're going to think we gave one away.
We gave one away. And if you're... The Oilers, they didn't steal it. They went out and grabbed it. I guess that is kind of theft, isn't it?
In any event, Edmonton rallies 4-2 down with 7 minutes to go. McDavid gets them within one, and then Jake Wallman pinched hard down the left-hand side, and when he tried to send it across, Matthew Olivier was there. But unfortunately for him, he deflected it upstairs on his own goaltender, Jet Greaves, who did not have a great night, it must be stated, as the Oilers got to him for 5 goals on 24 shots. Stuart Skinner, a hard-earned victory. He's now 5-4-3 on the year. He stopped 15 of 19. McDavid scoring twice, Wallman with 2 goals and an assist, and Jack Roslovic, the winner, 56 seconds into overtime. It's Edmonton 5 and Columbus 4. Next up for the Oilers, who are now 7-6-4, they'll head on a plane to Philadelphia tomorrow. A 4-hour flight awaits, and then a matchup with the Flyers, now coached by Rick Tocchet. What have you seen from Philadelphia? A lot of parity in the Eastern Conference, it seems like.
They're hanging in there. That's what I'm seeing. That's a tough I think it's got to be stated that's the better conference right now. I think we know that. And, you know, Philadelphia's got, obviously we're going to be interested to see Michkov. Goaltending's been a question mark with the Flyers. Well, they don't want to say, Jack.
Forever.
Edmonton has not played well. And just like with Columbus, like they've played well historically in Pittsburgh, but they've not played well in Philadelphia. They've not played well in Columbus and Buffalo. Those are 3 of the places. And if they're going to continue this, they're going to have to find ways to win there.
Well, it's a brutal road trip. I mean, it's 7 games, 12 days. No one loves the gamut of Carolina, Florida, and Tampa, although they'll be played in separate order. There's a breakup there with Buffalo and Washington in between. Could be the last time you see Alex Ovechkin, at least in the U.S. capital. But for the Oilers, it all begins with a home win tonight to get a split on the homestand. They do. And, of course, the extra point matters not interconference. So you give Columbus the point. The Jackets are winless on this 5-game trip. They'll be in Seattle tomorrow night and then get a rematch with the Oilers, who will be on the second of a back-to-back when the 2 teams meet again on Thursday. But first things first, the Oilers play the Flyers, and that game will be right here on 880 CHED and the Oilers Radio Network. A Wednesday night, 5 p.m. drive time start, and Cam Moon will join Bob Stauffer for that contest. Until then, for Bob and, of course, Brendan Escott and Rob Brown, this is Jack Michaels saying good night from Rogers Place. Jack Roslovic, the winner in overtime. It's Edmonton 5, Columbus 4. Ladies and gentlemen, the pleasure was all ours. The Rogers postgame show starts right now.